shenanigans, but
I think the Steeler game was just the Steelers. Their lifelong goal is to beat the
yeah,
Patriots, and they finally
and
did it. And they
then
finally got
after
their
that,
perfect game, because you have to have a perfect game to beat the Patriots,
at
and they
least on
finally
at least
got
on
that.
defense, they finally like played all 4 quarters. They didn't hold back in the fourth with the lead. Patriots made it kind of interesting, but they were still pretty far from getting that touchdown at the end. So, yeah, that was played a lot better than they have in the past. But then they forgot to beat some other teams around that game, so
Yeah,
which cost them. I mean, they did almost pull off, a pretty improbable Pats then Saints victories back to back, but which I think would have given them a nice slingshot into the playoffs if they would have made it, but just didn't happen.
that's the thing. I mean, if they were able to make it, they could have beat any of those teams.
Oh yeah,
And it's just
easily,
such.
especially the way they were playing at that time of the year. That Chiefs were still doing okay, but it was a far cry from the second game of the year, the home opener, when it was like 45-42 or whatever the score was. The Steelers lost, something like that.
Right.
It wasn't that offense anymore. It was good, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that would have been tough. It would have been really tough playing Kansas City in Kansas City. So I don't know about that. I just have a feeling the Chiefs would choke like they usually do at home in the playoffs. But it's just such a wasted opportunity. It's just
Yeah, that's the frustrating part as a fan.
and we go over all the time why, the kicker, the turnovers, the not getting turnovers, just it's,
Yeah,
Xavier Grimble, it's all his fault.
yeah, the last, at least 2 or 3 last couple minute drives to poor teams that the defense let up, things like that, like against the Raiders. Frustrating.
Yeah, they need to do something about that defense this offseason. Just doing the same old crap. Hoping you get somebody in the draft that's just not good enough. Spend some money. Do something.
I mean, again, they've been handcuffed by what's it called for a while, because they always had those good defenses and they've had a lot of high priced talent. This year, assuming Bell's gone and doesn't tie up all that money, they'll have a nice chunk to spend. I mean, a couple years ago they did try and get Hightower. It would have been nice if they had him, because who knew
really
happened to Shazier. But can you imagine Shazier and him in the middle? That would have been like unbelievable.
Yeah, he had Hightower had a really nice game.
And then Hayden becomes a free agent. They go out and get him. I mean, they're trying to do stuff with the opportunities they get. I'd like to see. I don't know if he's going to end up leaving, but it doesn't necessarily sound like he's 100% staying in Houston right now. But Matthau's Tyron
Honey Badger. Yeah.
Honey Badger is a free agent. He only signed for a year, and I saw him tweet out something about he just wants to win and stuff, kind of like what AB was saying. Like, does that mean he doesn't want to think he can win in Houston? Like, what's going on? Come over here, please.
Yeah, Houston had a really good year, so I don't know, but we'll see.
He had a pretty high ranking for his play this year, I think, as far as like how well he did for that position. So who knows? But
yeah, it's they have the money, time to spend it. Regardless with Antonio Brown, there's still money there. So
yeah.
Oh man. So
be there. Yeah. Speaking of the Super Bowl too, I was thinking about this too, and this goes along with the Edelman being MVP as well. But is there any team that's been the antithesis of, and again, people might get mad at this, but like cheaters never win type of thing, or what was the other one? There was another one I was thinking, and I'm like, I mean, it's like they get away with it, get away with what they're doing, and they just keep on winning despite it, and it's like, they're just like creating another generation of people that'll cheat. That's my bottom line. It's like that team just epitomizes that, like they just keep on trucking and keep on doing, whether it's something that may not matter, like the Deflategate, or it's steroid use that he got in trouble for. But I thought that was funny when I was discussing that on social media with some people.
I kept hearing like last night that people said, "Wow, it's like the Patriots know all the Rams plays or something." It's like, oh God,
What?
here
I
we
mean,
go.
although it's we don't know, but I don't think they have the same playbook as they did back in when they were spying the first time on them.
Yeah. No, I
Same with
think
the. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think they're just so insanely prepared that they probably know all the Rams plays
Yeah, well,
just
maybe.
by just by insane preparation, not because they stole anything.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
But also the whole like dynasty talk about the Patriots being a dynasty, and I think someone was saying, the whole thing where everyone's like, oh, well, the Steelers are 6-2 in the Super Bowls. They're whatever. What did the record be now? 6-5, I think.
6-5, yeah. So yeah,
People were saying, oh, it doesn't count because they got there since the year 2000. Like, if you're going back to the early 2000s and considering that the same as this, then why not go back 20 or 30 years, 40 years? Because this drives me nuts about it because it's not the same team as it was back in the early 2000s. The only person that's the same is Brady.
Exactly.
And then they went 10 years without winning a Super Bowl. And I'm like, the last time I checked, dynasties are won by championships. The Bills were never considered a dynasty. They went to 4 Super Bowls in a row. No one's ever done that. But, they're not a dynasty because they didn't win.
Right.
Now, if people are going to be honest about it, I'll say if you want to put that the Patriots, Brady had 2 separate dynasties, that's fine. But there's a 10-year gap where they didn't win, and it drives me absolutely nuts. Like, it's not the same dynasty.
It's not the same. Yeah, you basically have Brady, Belichick, and what was his name? Skarnecchia, the other coach that's been there the whole time. Otherwise, everybody else has changed. So no, you can't say it's one long dynasty, but yeah, 2 dynasties. That's fine. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, people. Like, and they always want to say, oh, they won 6-9 or something. Like, that's great, but there's a 10-year gap that you didn't win a Super Bowl. It's not dynasty kind of stats, That if you want to say I think they won 3 and 5 in the 2000s, was it? I think it was 3 and 5.
I think so, yeah.
And then whatever 2 and 4, I guess these last couple. They went to I don't know, but either way, it's just kind of drives me absolutely insane. That's why I still think the short-term dynasties, the 4 and 6 Steelers, have been the most impressive because they're basically the same team, and they're playing less teams, so the talent wasn't spread as thin. All that kind of stuff. But this whole obviously they're the most successful quarterback and coach combo ever. You can't argue that. I'm fine with that. It's insanity how successful they've been together.
Can't deny that. It's just we'll never see anything like this again. We'll never see a team do this well. Even if they lose in the Super Bowl, still making the Super Bowl is impressive. Just for what they've done is.
Yeah, so I'm wondering now if you think when Brady's done, Belichick is, then they won't ever be able to, finalize or come to a conclusion on the debate on who it is that's actually creating this. Is it Belichick or is it Brady? Belichick, riding Brady's coattails, or is it Brady riding the great coaching from Belichick?
Both. Well, I mean, we will never know whether
that's
Brady.
What I mean. I think Belichick, he might have been successful enough. He has enough money. He has enough championships. He'll be like, why do I bother with this stress? I'm going to be done, kind of like Cowher did once he got his 1 Super Bowl.
I think Belichick is wired a little bit differently, and I think he's just such a coaching nerd and such a football nerd that he'll just coach until he dies. He's not the kind of guy that's like, oh, I'll just relax and enjoy life. Like for him, relaxing and enjoy life.
Like he enjoys anything.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. Relaxing and enjoy life for him is going over, the Rams. Their hand placement on the defensive line or something like that, or that's going over hours and hours of tape. But just remember that there was that one year that Brady got hurt. He blew out his knee or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And it was the Matt
Castle.
Castle team.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that so if you
They
want
were
to say
decent. They weren't what they were, but they were decent.
they
They were
were,
still
yeah,
good
they
enough.
were 11-5, but they didn't make the playoffs. And I mean, that was the Steelers beat them that year easily in New England, I think.
Yeah, that
So
was a pretty nice thing.
yeah,
Even if it wasn't Brady, I just wanted to win. But yeah, it'll be interesting though. Once he's done, if he keeps coaching, however they do is going to have a big impact on at least what people perceive to be. Obviously, they're both good together. There's like
right. Or is people going to say, "Oh, Belichick only did well because of Brady"? What would he do with another quarterback? And I think he really wanted to keep Garoppolo, but that was a nice move by Brady, basically going above his head and going to the owner. It's like, hey, you need to keep me. I don't want that Garoppolo around anymore. Get rid of him. And
right. But that's not ever talked about as being negative for the team or anything. They just brush it off.
You want to talk about preferential treatment. Brady has his own personal trainer that has his own crazy training regimen and then he recruits other players to do this crazy training regimen. So,
yeah, he's got some, and I wouldn't, he doesn't look like, he's not built like Edelman, but the way he doesn't get hurt, I wouldn't be surprised if he's taking some stuff to help with his healing and stuff because he's pretty old. He's up there.
One thing I did hear is that what if Gronk comes back? That I mean, he's a very old 29, and apparently he was doing that. He was doing that TB12 that training crap. And that's that might work for a quarterback to be more flexible and things like that, but that doesn't work for a tight end. No. You want a tight end to be strong. You want him to be lifting weights, not stretching or whatever crap that guy does.
How old is Gronk?
He's only 29.
Oh wow. He moves like he's 37.
Exactly. He moves like he's he moves like he's 49 or something, but
he's so big they can, he can still get those catches where someone's covering him, but they can't get around him, kind of like playing basketball and boxing someone out. But
hey, he had that.
He wasn't very effective.
He had the catch of the game. That huge catch. The touchdown. So yeah, it's not just the Steelers he destroys.
Yeah, right. Everyone thinks it's just the Steelers.
Steelers can't cover the tight end. Yeah, well,
they had a guy who could do that, and then he paralyzed himself, unfortunately. So, but the craziness is he's said something about having some sort of update for people or something coming up, and still planning on playing. I'm like, his recovery is insanity.
That would be awesome, but I just don't see any way that he's ever going to play. But I mean, hey, if he can walk. I mean, if he can walk and lead a normal life, he made plenty of money. It's like, go have your good life and don't worry about this, dude. Just don't, maybe be a coach or something like that if you still want to be involved in football. But please don't go out there. I don't want to see him get hurt again.
I don't. Yeah, well, I mean, no one wants to see that, basically from any player except for maybe one or two. But, yeah, that's the thought of that, though. I always had in the back of my mind, he's probably. I don't think he's going to play, but man, would it surprise me? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised either way if he played a little bit again, just because of how crazy people can recover. And there's been other people that have been near that situation that came back from really bad injuries. I think one of the Jets linemen, I don't know if it was Joe Klecko or one of those guys, had a really bad injury like that too and came back.
I remember that. Yeah.
Again, I'm not expecting it whatsoever, but I mean the progress he's made in just a year and a half or whatever it's been now, it has been insane.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, for him to play again,
the most impressive thing.
It would be amazing. It would be amazing. But what he has to be medically cleared. And I just can't see a doctor saying, "Oh yeah, go out there again." That's just
the thing I think is, and I don't know if I've heard this before with people having not this severe of an injury. That's pretty rare, but any kind of recurring injury is when you get yourself back healthy or whatever, is your injury, is there any more of a risk percentage wise